Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wake Up with Tammeron. I am your host, and each month I'm traveling around Canada and I am interviewing amazing guests, just like here today. And so I want you to meet this fabulous woman because the concept of the age of Aquarius really is about more and more people who are tapping into the woo, all of these concepts that represent the age of Aquarius. And as one of Canada's top certified astrologers, I just love it when I meet other amazing people who are doing woo-woo kind of stuff, especially in their business. So today, my guest, her name is Jackie Kavanagh, and she is a spiritual medium. And we're going to share a story today of how we met and how she really is in alignment with the age of Aquarius. So Jackie, thank you so much
Thank you
for
so
being
much.
my guest this month.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, and so you're gonna hear an amazing story today, because what I really wanted to share was these examples of what age of Aquarius really represents. So one of the first things that I want to talk about is about having compassion. And so with Jackie's line of work as a spiritual medium, when I attended her event about a month ago, I was just so overwhelmed with the types and the style of how she represented her spiritual mediumship work and how she was giving messages to every single one of us in the audience, and the types of messages that we were all receiving. So, Jackie, could you share with the audience exactly what a spiritual medium is and what you feel your work is and how you're helping people?
Well, thank you. Thank
Oh,
you
you're
so much.
welcome.
Well, first and foremost, it's a beautiful gift and a blessing to share with everyone. And it's about uniting heaven and earth as one. And, for oftentimes when we lose somebody, sometimes we didn't get to say something, or, the would have, should have, could have, why. Sometimes someone may depart prior to not being sick, or, accidental death. It's about coming together as one. And that's the beautiful blessing and gift that I'm able to share with humanity, and bringing the beginning stages of the healing process, and understanding that we were all one, and understanding as well as that your loved ones, even though they are not physically with you any longer, they are still very much a part of your life. So they watch over you, they guide you, and they protect you. And, doing the work that I do, it's evidential mediumship, and it's the healing process. So to understand that, they saw what you did last week, or they want to share a specific memory that only the two of you would know, as a spiritual medium would not know that. So being able to speak on behalf of spirit, I feel truly humbled and honored and blessed to share this beautiful gift with all those that seek something greater than what they actually see here in the physical world.
And you're so right. So for anybody in the audience, if you've never been to a spiritual medium session, what Jackie is referring to is she's just the channel. So she connects with people in your life that you care about, your loved ones, and she hears things and then she relays the message to the people in the audience. And so I really want to reflect back on my experience when I met Jackie, because I was gifted a ticket to her event. And so it was so interesting how this whole concept of gifting and supporting and helping each other played out in how I actually met Jackie. So I felt so honored and so blessed that someone gave me a ticket in exchange for some work that I had done with the person who bought my ticket. And Jackie didn't know this. So it was so interesting how I just kind of showed up. And the minute I opened the door to the event, Jackie was standing in front of me, and boom, she gave me an instant message saying, "Oh, your father is with you. He's standing at the door with you." And it was just like, my goodness, I had to say back to her that I've been to a few other spiritual medium events over the last 20 years myself. And because I had a spiritual awakening when my father died. That was my crisis that woke me up. into the work that she does. And for me to understand, like Jackie says, there is life beyond the physical. And this is what the age of Aquarius represents, is the woo. It's the world that we cannot see. And so when my father came through, instantly it was like, yep, my dad's showing up. My dad shows up every single time. And what I've learned from working with other spiritual mediums and people like Jackie is that I learned to understand exactly when I knew it was my father that I was receiving my spiritual guidance from, because it's very specific to me now because I've been doing this for so many years. But for example, and I'm sure you might even be able to explain this too, is that whenever I see a crow, I know it's my dad. And so when I'm outside and I hear the crow squawking, I'm like, I have to pay attention because my dad is tapping me on the shoulder going, pay attention to what's happening today, pay attention to your thoughts, that kind of stuff. And that's how spiritual guidance works, is that you have to believe that you are always receiving messages. And so coming to an event or working with Jackie, you will receive those messages.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes. And I think along with you too is my spiritual awakening was when my father passed. And exactly, and it's I'd like to say it's funny, but it's not. It's a spiritual awakening where something is existing within and around you, but you don't quite understand it.
Yes.
But when you are open to understanding that something does exist other than the physical, the doors open wide.
Yes.
And like my father, because I tend to see spirit, I have all my clairs, they're fully open. And my father liked to send blue jays.
Another bird.
So
Another bird.
yeah. So blue jays is my sign that my dad is near. Or, I hear his voice.
Yeah.
So it's just beautiful. So when you are open to something such as this, because there's a lot of people that don't quite understand.
Yes.
And, when you are open to something such as beautiful as this, the doors open wide and you get a better sense of understanding of all things beautiful. And when you can bring heaven and earth together as one, it's profound. It's hard for me to put into words because I get so excited and overwhelmed with the love that I receive from the angels and guides and heaven above. It's a blessing.
It really is. And I agree with what Jackie said, is that it changed my life, because what I realized and what the message that I want to share with everyone listening today is that when you learn how to tap into this other realm and to receive intuitive guidance, because Jackie, like she said, she had awakening, I had mine. Jackie sees the energies and the auras and senses that, whereas I'm the exact opposite. I see in here, I see deep within my brain, but that took 20 years of meditation training. So when someone talks to me and they say something to me, I see the yes or the no, or I see a movie inside of my head, and that's what I convey to people. And then I try to support them on how to get there, and I tap into astrology to give you the guidance, because your journey is actually written in the stars. And so that's why I love doing what I do. But coming to Jackie and working with her is a different way of teaching people to tap into. So the next thing I want to discuss is, and I know that Jackie does this, and I also do it too, but can you explain to the audience how learning how to practice tapping into what you're hearing and to write down what it is you're hearing, because that is a specific style of writing. So can you share with the audience what that's called?
Absolutely.
And how it works?
Absolutely. So there's a few names, but to make it simple for everyone, I call it automatic writing. So you get into almost like a meditative state, meditative awareness, or even a trance somewhat when I get into that moment. And I have my pad and paper and I just sit and I write. So whatever is coming in through the channeling, word for word, is what I write. So I communicate with the angels, I communicate through your loved ones. And oftentimes when I'm having a client, I will often write a love letter from heaven. What I think is a beautiful gift for the client, for when they leave that day, they have a beautiful keepsake. So when you channel, it's about trust.
Yes,
It's
that's the
it's the
secret.
inner, it's the trust, knowing, because fear is an illusion.
Yeah,
It's not something that was given to us. It's an illusion that was
yeah,
created through the physical experience, the physical body.
yeah,
So when you are able to sit in trance and meditate, it takes practice. But even if you just begin, it can be one word, one sentence, it can be a color, because everything has a representation. So if you're able to put the pieces of the puzzle together, you end up with this beautiful written message that not only for yourself, but for those that you are able to read for. And when it comes to automatic writing, it's you don't really know or understand what's being written until you actually go back to read it. Because I come out of that state of awareness and I'm like, what was that all about? But then when you go back to read it, it is so beautifully written because it comes from an unconditional place of love. And
yes,
that's where heaven is. It's an
yeah,
unconditional place of love.
yeah,
So,
yeah. And I can totally relate. Um, I have been taught long ago before meeting Jackie, how to do that. And that's exactly my morning practice. And so what she shared at the end is this feeling of unconditional love is another element of what I love to share about in these videos, because when it comes from a point of love, it's equal because it's coming from our heart. There's no judgment there. And this is another element of the age of Aquarius that I want to share with people, is that when we can communicate and interact with each other where we're non-judgmental about who's in front of us, the messages or the work that we're doing, that's the equality. That's what age of Aquarius represents. Without you having to be a certified astrologer, that's where we're seeing more and more examples of, who we're working with and what we're choosing to do, especially people like Jackie and I who are into all of this woo-woo kind of work. Now, what I also want to ask Jackie is another example of how you're seeing in your work. I know I'm seeing it, and it's another example of what I want to share in this video, is how more and more people are collaborating as entrepreneurs to support and help each other. So are you seeing that in your work and how you're finding venues and places to present your services to others?
yes, I find humanity is coming together more and more often as one. And because it's about helping each other
Yes.
and it's about understanding each other's journey. And if we can love and support one another, what a beautiful place this shall be,
Yes, absolutely.
And when you love and support one another, everything just expands.
Yes.
So not only does it expand who we are as human beings, but it expands the love and awareness that we're able to share with those that cross our paths.
Yeah.
And
And that's the level of consciousness
yes,
that got
yes,
activated 2 years ago during the lockdown, which for someone like me, and maybe even Jackie, she can comment on this too, whereas I didn't see it as a, a negative. To me, as an astrologer, I was like, whoa, people are going to come together and help each other. That's what I saw in astrology. And so we're seeing more and more services, and more people are wanting what you do, right? Like, I'm sure you're getting booked more often.
I'm fully booked for a while. Yes. Thank
That's
you.
right,
Yeah.
right? So, if you're listening and you're wondering, what is mediumship, or what is this automatic writing you refer to?
To make it simplified, I automatic writing or
Automatic writing,
trans writing.
which means you don't know what you're writing. You sit down and you practice on what you hear, or you sit and you write. And I can validate what Jackie is talking about, because that's a lot of times what happens to me, is that I go to write in my personal journal. So not a journal that I share with others. It is me. And the reason why I love to do that is, for example, I'll write down what I'm hearing, and sometimes messages just come through, and then I have to go back, like Jackie says. And I was like, wow. So I'm channeling information, I'm channeling guidance, and then I go back and read it. But the beauty of it is, as an astrologer, I can go back and I can validate on specific days in astrology and look at the chart and what was happening in the sky. There we go, on that specific day, and it'll validate it in astrology. And that is the beauty of astrology, is because it can be very predictive and it can be very validating if you understand what astrology means and where the planets are and what they represent. So you don't need to know that, but I guarantee that if something significant happened in your life, a certified astrologer could actually go in and study your chart and say, yep, this is what would happen. People go, how do you know that? And you don't need to know anything. You just need to understand how to read the astrology signatures in the sky. So even meeting Jackie and doing this type of work, again, is very validating that for me, I received extra messages that was channeled through Jackie from my father. And to be honest, the message that I received that night was very general of what I've always received. But I received a special message that, again, no one knows. It was personal for me. And I knew that I needed to hear that in that moment because it supported me to take action in something in my business where I wouldn't have done it unless I received a message from you. I walked away going, wow, okay, I got a message
I
from
just
my
got
dad,
goosebumps.
right? And
Yeah.
it was like, I took action right away.
Yeah.
So in your line of work, do you find that people come back to you with a testimonial and say, wow, like you gave me a nugget today that really helped me? Because it wouldn't it could be personal and it could also be in their business too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. The one thing I do that comes from the readings that I give, as I spoke earlier, it comes from an unconditional place of love.
Yeah.
So it's a nurturing way for your beautiful angels and guides and those that you love in heaven to communicate through you to understand how things are moving. And as far as testimonies, yes, I receive them all the time. And there are times that I often get emotional because I made a difference in somebody's life.
Yeah.
I changed and I opened the doors through spirit, not me, through spirit,
Yes.
to open the doors to the beginning stages of the healing process.
Yeah.
So for someone who has been carrying a heavy burden for 10, 15,
Yeah.
20 plus years,
Yeah.
and you're able to bring the gap for the missing links for those that have departed and those that are sitting in front of you, it's overwhelming at times because you've actually turned the lock and key to something much greater within them.
Yeah.
And it's a relief. And
Yeah.
now they're able to
Move forward.
move forward in their day-to-day life because your loved ones in heaven want you to continue to live life abundantly and easily. They don't want you to carry the heavy burdens of their passing. And they want you to know that they are safe and they are at peace.
Yeah.
They just said love is everywhere.
Yeah.
So that's what the message here for today is: love is everywhere.
Yeah. And just slow down, learn how to slow down to hear it,
Absolutely.
or learn how to use some of the tools and techniques that Jackie has shared with us today. So what a great way to end this episode this month. So again, Jackie, thank you so much.
So much.
I guess.
Thank you so much.
Me too. I'm really happy to continue supporting Jackie and her work. And I just want to remind everybody that if you enjoyed this episode, to come back again next month for another one of Wake Up with Tammeron as I travel across Ontario and hopefully right across Canada this year. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.